I'm Grace Washington, 51 years old, and I built my tech consulting empire one sleepless night at a time. But standing here at the Lubbock Cultural Festival on this warm April morning, surrounded by the scent of barbecue and live folk music, I feel more lost than I have in decades. My gray Armani suit makes me stick out among the tie-dyed shirts and flowing skirts. I shouldn't be here. I should be in my corner office, reviewing quarterly reports, not wandering through craft booths like some middle-aged woman having a crisis. But then I see it. An antique dream catcher hangs from a weathered booth, its intricate beadwork catching the morning sun. Something about it calls to me, pulls me forward like gravity. My fingers reach out instinctively. Beautiful, isn't it? Another hand appears beside mine, slender fingers with paint-stained cuticles. I look up into the most stunning green eyes I've ever seen. The woman attached to them has wild red hair escaping from a loose braid, wearing a flowing, emerald dress that makes her look like she stepped out of an Irish fairy tale. I was just thinking the same thing. My voice sounds steadier than I feel. She smiles, and something shifts in my chest. I'm Emily Cooper. I do healing work in the community. Grace Washington. I run a consulting firm downtown. We're both still reaching for the dream catcher, our hands almost touching. The elderly vendor, a Native American woman with kind eyes, watches us with obvious amusement. That piece has been waiting for the right person all morning, she says. Seems it found two. Emily laughs, a sound like wind chimes. Maybe we're both supposed to have it. I find myself studying this strange, beautiful woman who talks about destiny like it's weather. Her dress moves with every gesture, and there's something magnetic about the way she carries herself. Confident, but not in the sharp-edged way I know. Hers is softer, deeper. Are you local? I ask, surprising myself with the question. Born and raised. You? Moved here 15 years ago for business. Never really explored much beyond the office district. She tilts her head, those green eyes studying me with an intensity that makes my skin warm. That's a shame. Lubbock has so much healing energy if you know where to look. Healing energy. In my world, people talk about profit margins and market penetration. This woman speaks a completely different language, yet somehow I understand every word. I wouldn't know where to start looking. I could show you sometime. The offer hangs between us, loaded with possibility I don't dare examine too closely. The vendor clears her throat. Ladies, this dream catcher represents new beginnings. Perhaps you both need its medicine. Emily steps closer. Close enough that I catch her scent. Sage and lavender, and something uniquely her. What do you think, Grace? Ready for something new? I look at this red-headed stranger with her mystical talk and paint-stained fingers, then at the dream catcher we both wanted. For the first time in years, I make a decision that has nothing to do with business strategy. Yes, I whisper. I think I am. Emily's smile could light up the entire festival. 3 days after the festival, I'm sitting in my executive chair, staring at Emily Cooper's business card. Spiritual healing and energy work, it reads in flowing script. My rational mind screams, this is ridiculous. Grace Washington doesn't do crystals and chakras. But Grace Washington also doesn't usually feel this restless. I dial before I lose my nerve. Emily speaking. It's Grace. From the festival. Grace. Her voice brightens, and I feel that same chest flutter from Saturday. I was hoping you'd call. I've been thinking about what you said. About stress management. Would you like to schedule a consultation? 20 minutes later, I'm in my BMW, driving toward an address that takes me far from downtown steel and glass. Emily's cottage sits nestled between old oak trees, wind chimes singing from the wraparound porch. She opens the door wearing flowing pants and a loose white top that makes her red hair look like flames. Without makeup, she's even more beautiful than I remembered. Welcome to my sanctuary. The interior takes my breath away. Crystals line every windowsill, catching afternoon light. Herbs hang in bundles from exposed beams. The air smells of sandalwood, and something earthy I can't identify. This is incredible, I whisper. Thank you. I've spent years making this space feel safe. She gestures to a comfortable seating area with floor cushions and soft throws. Tell me what's bringing you stress. I settle onto a cushion, my business attire looking absurd in this mystical setting. Work, mostly. I built my company from nothing, but lately, I feel disconnected from everything. Emily sits across from me, her green eyes focused entirely on my face. When did you last feel truly connected? The question catches me off guard. I don't know, maybe never. She reaches for a bundle of sage, lighting it with a wooden match. May I? I nod, not trusting my voice. Emily moves around me in a slow circle, the smoke curling between us. Her presence is hypnotic, calming in a way I've never experienced. Close your eyes, Grace. Her voice is soft, almost hypnotic. I let my eyelids flutter shut, feeling more vulnerable than I have in decades. The sage smoke wraps around us like a cocoon. What do you see when you imagine peace? Images flood my mind, not boardrooms or profit charts, but this cottage. Emily's laugh, the way her hand almost touched mine at the festival. You, I breathe, then immediately flush. I mean, it's okay. Her voice is closer now. Don't analyze it. I open my eyes. Emily has moved nearer, close enough that I can see golden flecks in her green irises. The sage has burned out, but its scent lingers between us. Grace? Yes? I haven't been able to stop thinking about you either. The admission hangs in the air like the dissipating smoke. My heart hammers against my ribs. I've spent my entire adult life avoiding moments like this, telling myself I was too busy for complications. But Emily doesn't feel like a complication. She feels like coming home. I don't understand what's happening, I whisper. You don't have to understand. Just feel. Her hand reaches up, fingers barely grazing my cheek. The touch is electric, sending shockwaves through my entire body. I've been kissed before, but never like I'm about to be kissed by Emily Cooper. Is this okay? She asks. I answer by leaning forward, closing the space between us. Our lips meet softly at first, tentative, then deeper, hungrier. Emily tastes like honey and possibility. When we break apart, I'm breathless. This is completely outside my comfort zone. Good, she smiles. The best things usually are. I wake at 3 a.m. from the most vivid dream of my life. Emily's hands on my skin, her whispered words about energy and connection. I've never dreamed about women like this before, and it terrifies me. By morning, I've convinced myself to cancel our next session. Then my phone buzzes. Sweet dreams last night? Emily's text makes my face burn. How does she know? Very unusual ones, I type back. Dreams carry messages. Want to explore what yours might mean? Against every rational instinct, I text yes. That afternoon, I find Emily setting up crystals in a perfect circle on her living room floor. She's wearing a flowing purple dress that makes her look otherworldly. Sit here. She pats a cushion in the center of the circle. I want to try something different today. I settle cross-legged, feeling foolish in my navy blazer. Emily lights white candles around us, the flames dancing in the afternoon light filtering through her windows. Tell me about your dream. Heat creeps up my neck. It was personal. Dreams about connection often are. She sits facing me, close enough that our knees almost touch. Energy doesn't lie, Grace. What is your body telling you? My body is telling me I want to kiss her again. That I want things I've never admitted wanting. That this red-headed mystic has awakened something I spent 51 years burying. I don't know how to do this, I whisper. Do what? Feel things. Want things I'm not supposed to want. Emily's eyes soften. Who told you that you're not supposed to want? The question hits like a physical blow. Images flash through my mind. Boarding school, business school, climbing, corporate ladders while denying every soft feeling that tried to surface. Everyone. Society, myself. What if they were wrong? She reaches out, taking my hands in hers. The contact sends electricity shooting up my arms. Emily's fingers are warm, calloused from her craft work, completely different from the manicured hands I shake in boardrooms. Grace, you're shaking. I am. My whole body trembles with want and fear and possibility. This is crazy. I have a board meeting Thursday. I can't be having a spiritual awakening with a woman I barely know. You know me. Her thumbs trace circles on my palms. Maybe not my history, but you know my soul. The candle flames flicker, casting dancing shadows on the walls. In this sacred space, Emily created, surrounded by crystals and the scent of lavender, The corporate world feels like another lifetime. What are you doing to me? I breathe. Nothing you're not allowing. She leans forward, her red hair falling like a curtain around us. When our lips meet this time, there's no hesitation. I kiss her back with decades of suppressed hunger, my hands tangling in her hair. Emily tastes like mint tea and magic. Her mouth moves against mine with practiced confidence while I fumble like a teenager. She pulls me closer, and I go willingly, desperate for this connection I never knew I craved. When we break apart, I'm gasping. I've never... with a woman. I know. She smiles, stroking my cheek. We'll go slow. I don't want to go slow. The admission shocks us both. Emily's eyes darken, and something shifts in the air between us. The crystals seem to pulse with energy. The candles burn brighter. Grace, I want you to show me everything. She kisses me again, deeper this time, her hands sliding down my arms. I arch into her touch, every nerve ending on fire. The professional mask I've worn for decades melts away, leaving only Grace, raw, wanting, finally alive. Come with me, Emily whispers against my lips. I follow her through the cottage to her bedroom, my heart hammering. The last logical part of my brain screams warnings about reputation, about careers, about the safe life I've built. But as Emily turns to face me beside her bed, green eyes full of desire and tenderness, I silence that voice forever. Some risks are worth everything. Grace Washington, successful tech CEO, dissolves completely in Emily Cooper's bedroom. Everything I thought I knew about myself crumbles as Emily guides me through unfamiliar territory with gentle hands and patient whispers. Breathe with me, she says, her green eyes never leaving mine as she slowly unbuttons my blazer. Let yourself feel. I'm trembling again, 51 years of careful control unraveling under her touch. I don't know how to be vulnerable. You're already being brave. Emily's fingers trace the silk of my blouse. Trust me? I nod, unable to speak. Emily draws us together, her mouth finding mine as clothes disappear like morning mist. Her skin is warm silk against mine, her touch reverent as she explores. When she whispers my name against my throat, I understand what worship means. Time stops. The corporate world vanishes. There is only Emily's breath, her gentle exploration, the way she makes me feel precious and desired. The intensity overwhelms me, and I cry afterward, decades of loneliness pouring out in her arms. I never knew, I whisper against her hair. Now you do. She holds me close, her fingers drawing soothing patterns on my back. How do you feel? Terrified, alive, changed. Over the following weeks, I lived two lives. Days in my glass tower, commanding meetings and closing deals. Evenings in Emily's cottage, learning to shed my armor piece by piece. Tell me about your first love, Emily says one evening as we lie entwined on her couch, firelight dancing across our skin. I thought it was marriage to Marcus in my 20s. Now I realize I was just performing. And now? I look into her eyes, seeing my future reflected there. Now I know the difference between existing and living. Emily becomes my sanctuary. Her cottage, with its crystals and candles, feels more like home than my penthouse ever did. We develop rituals, morning coffee before I leave for work, evening meditations that sometimes become something more intimate, weekend explorations of her spiritual practices. Close your eyes, she says during one of our sessions, her voice hypnotic. Imagine releasing everything that no longer serves you. I picture my old life. The loneliness, the pretending, the careful distance I maintained from everyone. As Emily's hands work their magic, spreading oils across my skin with reverent attention, I let it all go. The boundaries between spiritual and physical blur until there's only sensation, connection, the sacred act of two souls touching. But paradise has shadows. I catch myself checking over my shoulder when leaving her cottage, declining dinner invitations from colleagues who might ask questions. Living split in two. What are you thinking about? Emily asks one morning, studying my face as I dress for another day of corporate theater. How long we can keep this secret? She sits up, pulling the sheet around her shoulders. Is that what this is? A secret? The hurt in her voice cuts deep. It's complicated, Em. My world isn't ready for this. Your world or you? The question haunts me through board meetings and conference calls. That evening, I find Emily in her garden, tending to herbs under the fading light. I'm sorry about this morning. She doesn't look up from the rosemary she's harvesting. Are you ashamed of me? Never. I drop to my knees beside her, forcing her to meet my eyes. I'm scared of losing everything I built. What if what you built isn't worth keeping? Emily's wisdom cuts through my defenses like always. She's right. But admitting it means demolishing the fortress I've spent decades constructing. I need time. Time I can give you. She cups my face in her dirt-stained hands. But not forever, Grace. I won't be your secret indefinitely. That night, she holds me differently. Still tender, still loving, but with the awareness that our private paradise has an expiration date. As we move together in the candlelit darkness, I memorize every touch, every whispered endearment, terrified of losing this sacred connection we've built. I arrive at Emily's cottage early, planning to surprise her with takeout from her favorite Thai restaurant. The front door is unlocked, which isn't unusual. Emily believes in trust and open hearts, but the voices coming from her office stop me cold. The relationship has progressed exactly as predicted, a woman says, her tone clinical and detached. Subject A exhibits classic signs of late-onset sexual awakening, while Subject B demonstrates textbook lesbian mentorship patterns. My blood turns to ice. I creep closer, pressing myself against the hallway wall. The intimate sessions provide particularly rich material, the voice continues. Dr. Rose Thompson, Emily's supervising psychologist. The contrast between corporate repression and spiritual liberation creates a compelling narrative arc. Dr. Thompson, I'm uncomfortable with how detailed these notes are getting. Emily's voice sounds strained. Grace doesn't know about the documentation requirements. She signed consent forms for therapeutic observation, for healing sessions, not intimate relationship analysis. My legs nearly buckle. Documentation requirements, therapeutic observation. The words slam into my chest like hammer blows. I've been a case study, a subject. Everything intimate, every vulnerable moment, every whispered confession, has been recorded and analyzed like I'm some laboratory specimen. The publisher is particularly interested in the power dynamics, Dr. Thompson continues, a closeted CEO and her spiritual awakening guide. It's marketable, Emily. This could launch both our careers. Publisher, careers. They're writing a book about us, about me. I stumble backward, my shoulder hitting a wind chime. The gentle sound might as well be a fire alarm. What was that? Emily's voice, sharp with alarm. I run, out the door, across the garden, into my BMW. My hands shake so violently I can barely start the engine. Behind me, I hear Emily calling my name, but I can't face her. Can't face the truth. The woman I love, the person I trusted with my deepest secrets, has been documenting our entire relationship. I drive blindly through Lubbock streets, tears streaming down my face. Every intimate moment replays in my mind, but now they're tainted, contaminated. Emily's gentle questions weren't loving curiosity, they were research. Her encouragement to open up wasn't supportive, it was data collection. My phone buzzes repeatedly, Emily calling, texting, desperate to explain. I turn it off. Back at my penthouse, I pour 3 fingers of scotch with shaking hands. The corporate world I almost abandoned suddenly feels like the only honest thing in my life. At least in business, people stab you in the front. The doorbell rings at 9 p.m. I know it's Emily before I check the security camera. She stands there in flowing clothes that once seemed magical, now just looking naive and fake. Grace, please, let me explain. Explain what? How you've been using me. It's not like that. I laugh bitterly through the intercom. Really? Because I heard Dr. Thompson's voice today. I heard about the publisher, Emily. The marketable power dynamics. Silence stretches between us. Even through the door, I can feel her devastation. I never meant for it to go this far, she says finally. The documentation started as standard supervision requirements. I didn't know she was compiling it into a book proposal. But you knew she was recording our private moments. The sessions, yes. Not everything else. Which sessions, Emily? When we made love? When I cried in your arms about never feeling worthy of love? When I told you about being terrified to come out? Grace? Did you document that too? The night I broke down completely and you held me while I sobbed about wasting 51 years living a lie? Her sob echoes through the intercom. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. My voice sounds hollow, mechanical. You violated every boundary, Emily. You took my trust and sold it. I love you. The words I've longed to hear now feel like weapons. If this is love, I don't want it. I cut the connection and pour another drink. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, Lubbock spreads below me like scattered jewels. Beautiful but distant. Safe. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Miss Washington, this is Dr. Rose Thompson. We need to discuss the publication situation. There are legal considerations you should be aware of. Legal considerations. My hands shake as I read the implied threat. They're going to publish our story whether I cooperate or not. I throw myself into work like a woman possessed. 18-hour days become my new normal. Board meetings, client presentations, merger negotiations, anything to avoid the hollowness in my chest where Emily used to be. 3 weeks pass without contact. I've blocked her number, ignored her emails, had security escort her away from my building twice. The penthouse feels like a tomb, but it's safer than the cottage where my heart got dissected for entertainment. Grace, you look terrible, my assistant Marcus observes during our morning briefing. When did you last sleep? Sleep is overrated. I flip through quarterly reports, the numbers blurring together. What's next on the schedule? Actually, there's a woman downstairs demanding to see you. Emily Cooper. Security called twice, but she won't leave. My hand's still on the papers. Tell them to call the police. She says it's about Dr. Thompson. Dr. Thompson. The puppet master pulling our strings. I haven't heard from her since that threatening text, but I know she's watching, waiting for the right moment to detonate our story across bookstore shelves. 5 minutes, I tell Marcus. Then security removes her. Emily enters my office looking haggard. Dark circles under her green eyes, red hair limp and unwashed. She's wearing jeans and a simple blouse instead of her usual flowing clothes. Thank you for seeing me. You have 4 minutes left. She flinches but presses forward. Dr. Thompson contacted me yesterday. The publication is moving forward whether we cooperate or not. Congratulations. Your book deal is secured. Grace, I never wanted a book deal. She steps closer to my desk, desperation radiating from every pore. I've been fighting this for weeks. I reported her to the licensing board, to the psychology ethics committee. Too little, too late. She has recordings, Grace. Audio from our sessions, video from the security cameras she installed in my cottage without my knowledge. The blood drains from my face. What? Hidden cameras. She's been documenting everything since our second session. Every conversation, every intimate moment, she has it all. The room spins. Security cameras in Emily's bedroom, recording our most private moments. Dr. Thompson with hours of footage showing Grace Washington, respected, CEO, in compromising positions with her spiritual healer. When did you find out? Yesterday, after I threatened to expose her unethical practices. She showed me clips to keep me quiet. Emily's voice cracks. Grace, I had no idea. I thought she was just taking notes for supervision. I stare at this woman I once trusted completely, trying to read truth from deception in her devastated expression. How do I believe anything you say? Because I brought you this. Emily places a flash drive on my desk. Copies of everything she has. Audio, video, her book proposal, correspondence with publishers. It's all there. Why? Because she's threatening to release it publicly if either of us tries to stop the book. She has enough material to destroy both our reputations. I pick up the flash drive with trembling fingers. What does she want? My cooperation with publicity tours. Your silence about her methods. She's framing this as a heartwarming story of self-discovery through spiritual healing. Heartwarming. I laugh bitterly. She secretly records 2 women falling in love and calls it heartwarming. Grace. Don't. I hold up my hand. Don't say anything about love, not now. Emily's shoulders slump in defeat. What are we going to do? We? I stand, walking to my windows overlooking the city I've conquered. There is no we, Emily. There never really was. You don't mean that. I turn back to face her, armor sliding into place around my heart. I mean every word. This was a therapeutic relationship that got out of hand, nothing more. The lie tastes like poison, but it's safer than the truth. Emily's face crumbles, and for a moment I almost break, almost run across the room and hold her while we figure this out together. Instead, I pick up my phone. Marcus, please have security escort Miss Cooper out. Grace, please. We can fight this together. There's nothing to fight for. I turn back to the window, dismissing her with corporate coldness. Close the door on your way out. I don't watch her leave, but I hear her quiet sob as security approaches. The sound echoes in my chest long after the office falls silent. That night, I load the flash drive and see myself through Dr. Thompson's eyes, vulnerable, desperate, completely exposed. It's professional suicide packaged as a love story. But as I watch Emily's face in those stolen moments, see the genuine emotion and connection we shared, one truth becomes undeniable. Either we fight Dr. Thompson together, or we both lose everything separately. Emily takes matters into her own hands while I hide behind corporate walls like a coward. She shows up at Dr. Thompson's office with a recording device and righteous fury I admire despite everything. This ends now, Rose. I watch it all unfold from the flash drive Emily left behind. Hidden cameras captured their confrontation, Dr. Thompson's smug confidence, cracking as Emily presents evidence to the state licensing board. You can't prove I did anything unethical, Dr. Thompson counters. Therapeutic documentation is standard practice. Secret recordings of intimate relationships aren't therapeutic, they're voyeuristic. Emily's voice carries steel I never heard before. She's fighting for both of us while I wallow in self-pity and wounded pride. My phone rings at midnight. Emily's number. Grace, I need you to listen. Emily, just listen. I filed complaints with every oversight board in Texas. Dr. Thompson's license review starts Monday, but she's accelerating publication to beat the investigation. My blood chills. What does that mean? The book releases in 2 weeks unless we stop her legally. She's threatening to leak the most intimate recordings to tabloids if we interfere. I close my eyes, seeing my reputation crumbling, my company's stock price tanking. 40 years of careful image management destroyed by stolen moments of authentic love. What do you want from me? Partnership. We fight this together or she destroys us separately. The word partnership stings because I want it too much. Want Emily back in my life, in my bed, in my heart. But trust feels impossible after such complete betrayal. I'll call my attorney tomorrow. Grace, there's something else. I've been getting calls from journalists. Someone leaked that we're the subjects of the book. My world tilts sideways. How much do they know? Everything. Our names, our relationship, your company. One reporter called you the closeted CEO having a spiritual awakening through lesbian love. I hang up and immediately call my head of security. By morning, my building swarms with media vultures. Camera crews camp outside Emily's cottage. The story breaks across social media like wildfire. Grace Washington, tech CEO, secret lesbian romance trends on Twitter. My phone explodes with calls from board members, clients, competitors smelling blood in the water. I hide in my office, watching my carefully constructed world implode through floor-to-ceiling windows. Outside, protesters hold signs reading, "Come out of the closet, Grace," and "Corporate honesty matters." Marcus brings coffee with shaking hands. The board wants an emergency meeting. Schedule it for this afternoon. Grace, they're talking about your resignation. Before I can respond, security calls. Ms. Washington, Emily Cooper is here with an attorney. Says it's urgent. Emily enters wearing a business suit I've never seen, her wild hair tamed into a professional bun. Behind her walks an intimidating woman in expensive clothes. This is Janet Martinez, the attorney handling Dr. Thompson's case. Ms. Washington, Janet says, we have 48 hours before the book's advance excerpts release to major media outlets. After that, damage control becomes impossible. What are my options? Fight together, Emily says quietly. Pool our resources, present a united front. Show we're victims of unethical practices, not willing participants in some publicity stunt. I study Emily's face, searching for traces of the woman who betrayed my trust. Instead, I see exhaustion, determination, and something that might be love despite everything. What does fighting together look like? Janet spreads legal documents across my conference table. Joint lawsuit for ethics violations, privacy invasion, unauthorized recordings. We frame this as professional misconduct, not relationship sensationalism. The media will crucify us either way. Maybe, Emily says. But we control our own narrative instead of letting Dr. Thompson profit from our stolen intimacy. Stolen intimacy. The phrase captures everything perfectly. Our private moments, weaponized for public consumption. I look at Emily, really look at her for the first time since discovering the betrayal. She's fighting for us when she could have cut her losses and disappeared, risking her own reputation to protect what we built together. What do you need from me? Trust, Emily says simply. One more time. Outside, camera crews capture every movement. My board members text resignation ultimatums. The corporate world I've dominated for decades prepares to devour me. But looking at Emily across my conference table, I realize some battles are worth losing everything to win. Let's destroy her. Emily's smile lights up the room like coming home. Our legal victory tastes sweeter than I imagined. Dr. Thompson's license gets permanently revoked, her book deal canceled, and our lawsuit settlement ensures her recordings never see daylight. But victory feels hollow when Emily and I barely speak during the proceedings. 3 weeks post-trial, I sit in my penthouse office, staring at Emily's cottage address on my computer screen. The media circus died down after Thompson's public disgrace, but the distance between Emily and me remains a chasm I don't know how to bridge. My phone buzzes. A text from Emily. The licensing board wants to interview us about Thompson's other victims, together, tomorrow at 2. I type back, I'll be there. The next day, Emily waits outside the licensing board offices wearing that same professional suit. Her red hair catches afternoon sunlight, and something inside my chest awakens after weeks of numbness. Grace. Her voice is carefully neutral. Emily. We sit through 2 hours of testimony, professional and distant. But when they ask about the emotional impact of Thompson's betrayal, Emily's composure cracks. She stole something sacred, Emily whispers. Turned our most vulnerable moments into entertainment. I watch tears slide down her cheeks and realize we never grieved together. Never processed the violation as a couple because I was too busy building walls. After the interview, we stand awkwardly in the parking lot. Coffee? I ask. Emily looks surprised. Okay. We drive separately to a quiet cafe across town, away from downtown's prying eyes. Emily orders herbal tea while I stick with black coffee. Our differences still evident even in small choices. How are you handling everything? I ask. Some days better than others. She wraps her hands around her mug. Lost several clients after the media coverage. Apparently, having a relationship with a client damages my professional credibility. Guilt stabs through me. I'm sorry. It's not your fault, Grace. We were both victims. I treated you like you weren't, though. I blamed you for Thompson's manipulation. Emily meets my eyes for the first time since we sat down. I kept secrets from you. Even without knowing about the cameras, I should have told you about the supervision requirements immediately. We both made mistakes. The question is whether we can forgive them. The question hangs between us like morning mist. I study Emily's face, memorizing the freckles across her nose, the way her green eyes reflect light like lake water. I miss you, I admit quietly. I miss you too. Not just the physical stuff. I miss talking to you, miss feeling like someone actually sees me instead of just the corporate mask. Emily reaches across the table, her fingers barely touching mine. The contact sends familiar electricity up my arm. I see you, Grace. Always have. That evening, Emily follows me home, not to the penthouse, but to a small house I bought during the legal proceedings, somewhere neutral, untainted by our complicated history. We sit on the couch with careful space between us, like teenagers afraid of moving too fast. Are we starting over? Emily asks. I don't know how to start over. I only know how to move forward. Forward sounds good. Emily shifts closer, her hand finding mine. This time, I don't pull away. Her touch feels like forgiveness, like possibility, like coming back to life after months of existing. Grace? Yeah? I love you. Not as a case study or a client or a story to tell. I love you as Grace Washington, the woman who trusts me with her vulnerability. The words unlock something frozen in my chest. I love you too. Even when I was furious and hurt, I still loved you. Emily leans forward, her lips brushing mine softly. The kiss tastes like second chances and hard-won wisdom. When we break apart, I rest my forehead against hers. We're going to have to rebuild everything, I whisper. I know. Trust, boundaries, our entire foundation. I know. It won't be easy. Emily smiles, the expression lighting up her whole face. The best things never are. Later, as we move together in my new bedroom with careful reverence, I understand what sacred means. Every touch carries the weight of nearly losing each other. Every whispered endearment sounds like a prayer of gratitude. We make love like people who know how precious and fragile connection truly is, how easily it can be stolen or broken or lost. Afterward, Emily traces lazy patterns on my skin, while I drift in that space between sleep and waking. What are you thinking about? She asks. The future. Our future. What do you see? I picture Emily's healing center with my business expertise behind it. Picture us building something beautiful together. Stronger for having survived Thompson's attempt to destroy it. Partnership, I say. Real partnership this time. Emily's smile against my shoulder feels like coming home. 6 months later, I stand before my board of directors, wearing a flowing emerald dress Emily picked out. The corporate armor is gone, replaced by something softer but no less powerful. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to meet my partner, Emily Cooper. Emily enters the boardroom with quiet confidence, her red hair gleaming under fluorescent lights. She's wearing a tailored blazer that makes her look like she belongs in this world of steel and glass. Miss Cooper will be consulting on our new wellness initiative. I continue, watching board members' carefully neutral expressions. Her expertise in holistic healing practices aligns with our employee satisfaction goals. It's corporate speak for, I'm in love with this woman, and we're building something beautiful together. The board understands perfectly. After the meeting, Emily takes my hand in the elevator. That went better than expected. They're terrified of another scandal. Acceptance through fear isn't ideal, but it works. Emily laughs, the sound echoing in the small space. Whatever gets us where we need to go. The elevator opens on the ground floor, revealing the bustling lobby of my building. Employees nod respectfully as we pass, their comfort with our relationship growing daily. Outside, Lubbock's spring air carries the scent of blooming wildflowers. Emily's healing center sits 3 blocks away, a converted Victorian house, painted sage green with wind chimes singing from the wraparound porch. Ready for the grand opening tomorrow? I ask as we walk. Terrified and excited in equal measure. Good. That means it matters. Inside the center, crystals catch afternoon sunlight, while the scent of lavender and sage creates an atmosphere of peace. My business expertise merged with Emily's spiritual wisdom resulted in something neither of us could have created alone. Grace? Yeah? Thank you. For taking the risk, for fighting with me, for not giving up when everything fell apart. I pull her close, breathing in her familiar scent of herbs and possibility. Thank you for seeing something in me worth saving. That evening, we drive to the annual Lubbock Cultural Festival. The same event where we met feels different now, transformed by everything we've survived together. The elderly Native American vendor recognizes us immediately, her eyes twinkling with knowing amusement. The Dreamcatcher ladies return. Actually, I say, my heart hammering against my ribs, we have something to ask you. Emily looks confused as I drop to one knee beside the craft booth. The crowd around us gasps, cell phones appearing to capture the moment. Emily Cooper, you awakened something in me I didn't know existed. You fought for us when I was too scared to fight for myself. You turned my carefully controlled life into something wild and beautiful and real. I pull out a small velvet box containing a ring I designed myself. A delicate band, woven with silver threads like a dream catcher, centered with Emily's birthstone. Will you marry me? Emily's hands fly to her mouth, tears streaming down her cheeks. Around us, the festival crowd holds its collective breath. Yes, she whispers. Then louder for everyone to hear, "Yes, Grace Washington, I will marry you." The crowd erupts in cheers as I slip the ring onto her finger. Emily pulls me to my feet, kissing me deeply while cameras flash and people applaud. A dreamcatcher ring, she laughs through her tears. Perfect. It catches dreams and makes them real, I whisper against her lips. The elderly vendor beams at us with maternal pride. That dreamcatcher from last year brought you exactly what you needed. As we dance to a country band's slow ballad under strings of festival lights, I think about the journey that brought us here. The betrayal, the scandal, the near destruction of everything we built together. All of it necessary to forge something unbreakable. "What are you thinking about?" Emily asks, swaying in my arms. "How almost losing you made me realize what having you really means." "And what does having me mean?" I look into her green eyes, seeing our future reflected there. The healing center will grow together. The wedding will plan. The life will build on foundations of hard-won trust and deeper love. Everything, I say simply. Having you means everything. Emily's smile could light up the entire Texas sky. Around us, Lubbock celebrates our love story, the CEO and the shaman, who found each other through broken trust and emerged stronger. It's not the fairy tale I expected, but it's real in ways fairy tales never are. As the music swells and Emily spins in my arms, I understand what sacred truly means. Not perfection, but the courage to choose love despite risk. Not certainty, but the faith to build something beautiful from broken pieces. The dreamcatcher brought us together. Our love will keep us that way forever.